Hey guys, what is happening? Alpha Chat Epic Collector back with another book review. This time, guys, it is Ms. Marvel, Volume 1, This Woman, This Warrior, and Volume 2, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Really good stuff, guys. You get the entire complete series, the only lasted for 23 issues from 1977 to 1979. The first two issues were written by Jerry Conway, and the rest, starting from 3 all the way to 23, was by Mr. Chris Claremont, who, of course, was writing X-Men at the time and managed to fit in his busy schedule this book. There's really not a whole lot to say other than I was actually quite surprised with how much I enjoyed Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers specifically, and the duality they were working with, having Carol Danvers fighting the Ms. Marvel persona inside of her, similar to Bruce Banner and the Hulk. But she would be triggered whenever there was danger somewhere. Ms. Marvel would be fighting Carol to get out and save the world, while Carol's like, no, I wanna, live my life as a woman, as a strong feminist, or not necessarily feminist, but like a strong independent woman who has feminine ideals and wants to be on her own without having to rely and depend on a man to protect her and save her. A lot of stuff was happening in the 70s where women were trying to break out into their own independent fields and be their own woman. And Chris Claremont, especially, I think really wanted to elevate a character like this into someone respectable. The first volume is pretty run-of-the-mill stuff, just trying to see what sticks against the wall. Carol basically faces MODOK, big fat head over here, for a couple of issues. Meets the Vision in issue 5. She wears this really horrible outfit with a scarf around her neck. And I mean, every encounter she faces, the villains grab her by her scarf and like nearly break her neck. So it's like, just a freaking scarf. And she does in volume 2 with issue 20 right here. She removes a scarf around her neck and puts it around her waist instead. I guess they just wanted to add contrast to her costume or whatever. But with the first volume, I enjoyed it. It only took me like 2 days to read. It took me 2 days to read both books, so 4 days total to bang it out. Less than a week, and I was able to get through 2 epics, which is really good. Mary Jane runs into, Mary Jane Watson and Peter Parker. She has to deal with J. Jonah Jameson, because Jameson's the publisher, obviously, of the Daily Bugle, which is an offshoot of Woman's Magazine, which Carol is the editor of. And they butt heads a lot, and Jameson wants to fire her, and he hates superheroines, but he doesn't know that she's Ms. Marvel because she's keeping that secret. And she only tells a select few, who she is, like her psychiatrist and her mom. But later on, when Claremont takes over, we totally do get away from the Spider-Man characters, which Claremont was happy to do because he's like, this is not a spin-off of Spider-Man. And Jerry Conway, who wrote the first 2 issues, was basically making it that, like, Jameson and Parker and Mary Jane, like, why are they here? They have their own book. Why are they appearing in Ms. Marvel? It makes no sense, other than probably they just wanted readers of Spider-Man to read Ms. Marvel. Similar to when a TV show spins off its character to start a new show, something like that. But after a while, I think Claremont found his footing and gave Carol her own supporting character, her own supporting cast, her own villains. The first 2 issues written by Jerry Conway, she's fighting Scorpion. Like, this is not Spider-Man. This is Ms. Marvel. Come on, come up with some new characters. They have her fighting MODOK. At one point in issue 9. Features the first appearance of Deathbird of the Shi'ar. Deathbird never mentions that she's a sister of Lilandra or D'Ken, or that she's part of the Shi'ar. She mentions she's part of the Aerie, but she never says, I am an alien from outer space and I'm with the Shi'ar. She's an agent of MODOK for some reason. Then she appears in issues 9 and 10 and later reappears in issue 22 of this book, which is also when she gets fired from Woman Magazine. Not really much to go on. We're just getting an idea of who Carol is, what she was in the past, working for NASA, being in the Air Force, her love life, her boyfriends, her gal pals, and whatnot. So this volume, issue 1, is a good starter to kind of get your feet wet, but there's really nothing mind-blowing about this volume. I mean, Ms. Marvel in general is yeah, like a B to C level character, like Morbius. Like there's not really anything exciting to go on until you read volume 2. And then this is where things really pick up. One thing I found kind of interesting, if you guys look, if you notice the contrast between the covers, you have Carol on this side, on the left, facing the right and punching MODOK in the face. Whereas in volume 2, she's on the right side, looking left, dragging this lizard dude's tail and attacking. I just like the contrast between the two similar covers. But also, I noticed Carol, when she's normal Carol, she has long flowing blonde hair. But when she turns into Ms. Marvel, she has short hair, as if no one can tell that it's really her. They can't tell, you know, unless she tells them, hey, I'm Ms. Marvel. But they decided, hey, no one's going to know that she's Ms. Marvel unless she has short hair. It's like Clark Kent and his glasses and hat. But everyone knows it's Superman if you just look a little deeper, you know. But finally, when they give her the new costume in issue 20, she has her long hair normal, but people still can't tell that she's Ms. Marvel. Go figure. But that's just a small minor thing I just don't understand. But yeah, this is issue 18, and they finally incorporate her with the Avengers. This was around the time of the Korvac saga, so Ms. Marvel was hanging out with the Avengers more, and I think she became a member when Scarlet Witch took a leave of absence to be with Vision. Yeah, they didn't like the costume because it looked too much like the guy Captain Marvel, so they decided to turn her into this and keep the scarf around her waist. This issue features numbers 15 to 23, and also the controversial Avengers number 200 and Avengers Annual number 10, and some miscellaneous stuff. Marvel Fanfare number 24, Marvel 2-in-1 number 51, and Marvel Team Up 76 and 77 are also included. So she fights with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange against Silver Dagger. She hooks up with The Thing and Nick Fury because there's that poker game that they have, and they fight Yellow Claw's, not Yellow Claw, but Yellow Claw's army of American paratroopers. So there's a lot here, but the standout issues, of course, are the first appearance of Mystique, which is issue, I believe 18 is her full, in blue skin, but she's mentioned as Raven Darkholme in issue 16, but she, there's no blue hued Mystique. She's Raven Darkholme, and she has some vendetta or grudge against Miss Marvel for whatever reason. So Avengers 200 was the issue where Marcus, let me backtrack. Avengers 200, for those of you who don't know. Oh, by the way, will be released. Avengers 200 and Avengers Annual 10 will be released in Volume 11, The Evil Reborn, in a couple months, I think May, if I'm not mistaken, May 21st, they'll be releasing this issue. But basically, Carol Danvers, they built her up as a strong, independent woman, and then right when we get to Avengers 200, which was not written by Chris Claremont, it was written by a consortium of Jim Shooter, David Michelinie, George Perez, and some other guy, basically addressing the incest and rape of Carol Danvers. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Incest and sexual assault of Carol Danvers by her own son, who is also her lover. Guys, I can't even fathom why these writers would think this was a good idea to write. I'm not offended by it, and I'm not triggered by it. I'm not a victim of sexual assault, but this kind of stuff is really heavy to talk about. And these guys must have been watching some daytime soap operas at the time, because it feels like a soap opera, and it feels like this wasn't really treated with a lot of sensitivity and care. This is Avengers 200, by the way, that I'm talking about. And I don't blame Chris Claremont for being pissed off, because they really made Carol look very weak and stupid, and the Avengers were very stupid and weak. and Claremont, of course, answered it with the annual 10, annual number 10. And there's a really beautiful moment where Carol confronts the Avengers at the very end. Yeah. So issue 200, this is the issue where she's inexplicably pregnant and overnight gives birth to a baby who overnight goes from a baby to a grown man who becomes her lover, and the Avengers allow him to kidnap her and essentially violate her, in limbo, and everyone's happy with it. Everyone's okay with it. I don't know. I don't know what crack they were smoking. It's really bizarre. I don't know. I just remember looking. I read this today, and I just was looking at these pictures about how creepy it was, the way they just draw, and I don't know. But gradually, Marcus becomes like Immortus and takes Carol into limbo, and everyone's happy, and that's the end. And right after, Carol comes back inexplicably. She just comes back and confronts, Marcus apparently died. Spoiler alert. And she hooks up with the X-Men. The X-Men save her from Mystique and Rogue, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And Carol has I'm looking for the okay, well, here it is. Here's the annual. So this is an answer and response, because Claremont was really pissed off at the circumstances involving Carol and how dumb they made her look. But I love how Rogue, she was bad at the time. She was with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. She just beats the crap out of all the Avengers: Thor, Captain America, Wonder Man, Vision, Scarlet Witch. Like, they can't stop Rogue, of all people, because Rogue is so fucking powerful. And ooh, this is really good artwork. I just realized I read this today, and what a good splash page right there with Scarlet Witch. Yeah, hold on, guys. I'm just trying to show. So finally, it's the end of the fight, and Carol confronts. She's with the X-Men, but she confronts the Avengers. Beast at the time was a member, and she just tells them, "You guys failed me. Your friend, your partner, Scarlet Witch, as a fellow woman, you failed me." And they really take it to heart. I mean, all this dialogue. I usually don't like a lot of dialogue, guys, but this is really... I read this today. I was in a coffee shop today, and I read this story, and I teared up. I cried. I didn't cry. I was like, ooh, but I teared up because I was really moved by Claremont's words. Claremont was... And he wasn't mansplaining. He was just simply writing about an experience about how someone could be taken advantage of, and her friends just allowing it to happen, and the Avengers feel really shitty about it. I mean, so much so that Vision is laying on, they're going home. This is like the very last page. And Scarlet Witch is just like, man, we really failed. We failed. And Vision's like, yeah, and we're probably going to fail again if we don't wise up and pay attention to our loved ones. When someone's in need. This was really the Avengers failing at their worst, and they didn't even get beaten by a villain. Their conscience, their common sense defeated them. Their or lack thereof. But I'd like to think that maybe Marcus Immortus controlled them to allow him to take Carol into limbo. Because if you guys, I hope you guys get a chance to read this. If you can't find this, Volume 2 of Ms. Marvel, it'll come out pretty soon, in a couple more. Next month. We're already in April, so next month in May, Volume 11 of Avengers will come out, and you guys will know what I'm talking about. So I don't want to spoil anymore. But it was a very heavy issue, and I'm glad that Claremont was able to respond. I think it was Jim Shooter. Jim Shooter is a very awful writer. He's a very awful writer, and I think he just doesn't care about the same guy who wrote Bruce Banner almost getting raped by gay guys at the YMCA. Seriously, look it up. Hulk magazine number 23, guys. Google that, and you'll see what I mean. It's pretty fucking disturbing. So Jim Shooter doesn't really hold a lot of stock with me. I know he probably saved Marvel in the late 70s when he became editor-in-chief, but I think as a writer, he's a bit of a scumbag. I don't know. That's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And then the whole book wraps up with Marvel Fanfare number 24 with Carol finding out that Captain Marvel died of cancer and being the last person to know among the heroes. And so she makes amends and really, she flies to where he's buried, and she has this nice moment, this monologue in her head about how he saved her, how if it wasn't for her, she wouldn't be who she was. And then at last, she has a moment here with Wolverine. Carol gives up her life. Carol Danvers gives up being Carol Danvers and decides, I'm going to be binary, and I'm going to go up in outer space and be with the Starjammers. And that's it. There's no place for me on Earth as Carol Danvers or Ms. Marvel. And she, I don't want to spoil it. Well, real quick, she only found this out because they're having their little annual, or not annual, but their nightly poker game. The Thing, Nick Fury, the Beast, Wonder Man, D.A. Blake Tower. They're all there. Jarvis is there to play. And they invite Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. And she's like, wait, you're Captain Marvel? I'm Captain Marvel. I was Captain Marvel. And they're like, well, no, you're not anymore. And then she's like, well, does Captain Marvel the dude? No. And they're like, oh, well, he died. And she's like, what? Nobody told me. What? And that's basically how that happened. So then Carol has a cow, becomes binary, and goes to see the gravesite of Captain Marvel, who had died of cancer. And she just ultimately gives up her life as Carol. And that's the end, guys. That's the end of the book. It's a downer. It's a bummer. But you get a sense of Carol being a very strong, independent, intelligent woman, which is really cool. I'm not threatened by women in that regard. I think we all should try to succeed, and strive to be equals. Men and women, men and men, women and women, and men and women together. And you don't get a sense that it's very preachy. My summation is that Ms. Marvel doesn't come off very preachy. She's actually very likable. I like Carol. I wish she had a happier ending. It's very sad and tragic if you get to issue 200, how they just make her like a dumb blonde chick who just says, yes, I will go with you, my rapist lover son. What? But again, yeah, you have to read it to believe it, guys. It's not shocking like, oh my god, but it's very off-putting, and they don't make any mention of what is going on as to why Carol is so because Carol knows that this is like, she's like, I don't want to see my son, I don't want to see him, I don't want to, and then she just falls back in love with him and is like, yes, I will go with you to Limbo. And the Avengers are like, okay, good job, guys. Winning. Go ahead. There really isn't much more to say, guys. It's a terrible issue for an anniversary issue. That's Avengers 200. That's supposed to be a celebratory issue, but it's a masturbation of a woman, or a desecration of a woman. Especially when you read all the stories up to that point. It's like, just take this fucking anniversary issue and use it as toilet paper. That's what it feels like. But then read the annual number 10 afterwards, and then there's some catharsis in that for Carol and us, the readers. So, but let me know what you think, guys. Ms. Marvel, I know you think to yourself, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it, but give it a shot, guys. I think if you can give Morbius a shot, you can give Ms. Marvel a shot. Maybe she's not the most deserving of an epic. Again, maybe Tomb of Dracula should have gotten it. Marvel Team Up, Dazzler. There are hundreds of titles that probably deserve Howard the Duck, an epic. But I do recommend Ms. Marvel. I give overall this over the span of 2 volumes a B, maybe a B plus. Some of the stories aren't great, some of them are forgettable, but when you get to volume 2, you'll really enjoy her as a person, Carol Danvers. And the next series, guys, that I'm going to be reading is Wolverine. I've already read volume 1, so I'm going to start with volume 2 next and work my way all the way through to the recently arrived issue, volume 14. I'm about to burp. Volume 14, which just came out. So I'm going to read that, guys. So that's about 9 more epics that I'm going to read. I'll probably just read these individually and then do a review. So after I finish this, we'll say, hey guys, let's talk about volume 2 of Wolverine, back to basics, and then we can be more concise with the series as we go along. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you guys enjoyed Ms. Marvel. If you have any questions, please let me know, guys. As always, I feel like I'm leaving so much out. I did mention Deathbird's first appearance, Mystique's first appearance in Ms. Marvel, in the Ms. Marvel comic book. So definitely check those out. And yeah, let me know what you guys think, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.